Hey guys, how's it going? This is Al. We are going to go over what happened on week 16. We're going to do a recap. We're going to look at all of the lineups that I had on DraftKings this weekend. We're going to take a look at best buys and see what I got right and what I got wrong, where I was lucky, where I was unlucky, where the process was good, where the process was bad. All of this we do every single week on this channel to try and get better every single week. We need to look at our mistakes, see where we can avoid making them in the future, and look at things that we did right, because sometimes your process is bad and you have to reevaluate things in order to improve in the future. And sometimes you didn't have the right result, but the process was 100% correct and it led you to the right player, but things didn't work out. Kind of like Godwin a couple of weeks ago when he had like 10 targets for 4,500 or something, but only had one catch. That was good process, bad result. There's other times where we pick a player based on we think he's going to have a certain amount of volume or a certain floor, and he doesn't quite get there. So the season's almost over. Some might say, why do we have to do this anymore? I think it's an important tool for me to use every single week to make sure that I'm still making the right decisions all the way through the playoffs, all the way through the wild card round, the divisional round, and going into the championship round, where I'm assuming there's going to probably be a 2-game slate, but it's mostly going to be a single-game showdown later in the playoffs. So I want to continue making the right decisions, and I think you've made the right decision too by tuning in once again this week to watch this recap video. So if you would please be so kind as to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notifications bell. I'm still going to have content coming out throughout the rest of the football season, and then post-football season, whether it's going to be NBA content or video game content or whatever, I'd love to see you guys hang around during the offseason and all the way up to the next football season. So that would be awesome. And let's get right into here. Here's week 16's best buys column. As every week, we start with the quarterbacks. Andrew Luck was 6,200 on DraftKings, and to me that was just too cheap. Ended the day with 31 for 47, 357 yards and 2 touchdowns. 25.6 DraftKings points is just fine. Dak Prescott did not get there, although he did have a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Ended the day with 16.6 points. It wouldn't have killed you if so many other quarterbacks didn't completely go nuclear. 161 yards just isn't enough, and he ends up vulturing that touchdown from Ezekiel Elliott, which hurt in 2 different ways, I suppose. I assume a lot of you weren't on Dak Prescott because of the value at quarterback that started with Sam Darnold, as we were talking about him all week long. As much as we liked all the Jets position players that were at values, if you thought that they were going to score touchdowns against a porous Green Bay defense, then Sam Darnold was also in play at sub 5K on DraftKings. 24 of 35 for 341 and 3 touchdowns, had an absolutely incredibles day with 29 DraftKings points. So an absolute smash for Sam Darnold. Kirk Cousins did fine, not thrilling, not great, but fine. 253 yards, 3 touchdowns, 22.2 DraftKings points. Nick Foles, though, the absolute nuclear explosion on the day. 35.9 DraftKings points, 471 yards, 4 touchdowns. Hopefully you had Foles and paired him up with Ertz, because Jeffrey didn't kill you. He wasn't great. Nobody really had Aguilar. So let's not say, oh yeah, I had 30% Aguilar in my Foles lineups. It's probably not going to be the thing that happened. Zeke Elliott. We talked about his floor being about 15 points. He just barely got over that. But this is why we pay up for players like this. There's way less risk going with these super stud running backs where the volume is going to be tremendous, and he still got the volume. 23 touches on the day, 18 carries, 85 yards, got vultured for a rushing touchdown, 5 catches, 6 targets, 24 yards, 15.9 points. Did he reach value? Most certainly not. Did he kill you? Most certainly not. Christian McCaffrey. I had spoke all week that because of the change in quarterback, his volume should not change. In fact, it vastly increased with 33 touches on the day. Absurd for somebody, for any running back, let alone somebody that's got the size of Christian McCaffrey. 21 carries, 101 yards, no touchdowns, 12 catches on 13 targets for 77 yards, 32.8 DraftKings points. And this goes with the conversation we were having on the Anti-Tinker cast on Sunday morning, where I said I don't mind going with a quarterback and not playing with a pass catcher. The pass catchers or the running backs can achieve value without a quarterback doing much. And Heineke only had like 12 fantasy points yesterday, and yet Christian McCaffrey, without scoring a touchdown, still ended the day with an absolutely massive line. I'm not saying you shouldn't stack. I'm never going to say that. highly correlated quarterback to wide receiver 1. I'm just saying that it's okay sometimes to go against the correlation matrix. It's fine. Okay, you can do it situationally, but it's fine. Saquon Barkley, 18.7 DraftKings points for only 7.9K, a much better day in terms of points per dollar than Ezekiel Elliott, but also not like a 30-point day like Christian McCaffrey had. 21 carries, 43 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 catches, 7 targets, 34 touchdowns. I'm always going to be fine paying up for a running back that gets me 25-plus touches. I'm just not going to have a problem with anybody that does that, especially ones like Elliott, McCaffrey, and Barkley, who have so much involvement in the passing game. Nick Chubb, somebody who doesn't have a lot of usage in the passing game, did have 16.5 DraftKings points, 19 carries, 112 yards, 2 catches, 3 targets for only about 3 yards, so not much usage in the pass game for him. Nick Chubb has to score touchdowns. They got inside the 5 3 times this week. They passed on every single one of them. He had one where he was close but didn't quite get in. Maybe we should have gone with the narrative, and maybe we should have paid a little bit more attention to the narrative that, you know, Baker against Hugh Jackson is probably going to want to show him up and throw as many touchdowns as he can. And I don't know if he audibled out of plays around the goal line or changed the play to something that was going to be a more pass-heavy approach when they got inside the 10, or if that was always going to be the game plan. But it should, retrospectively, this might just be anecdotal, but might have been something that we should have paid a little more attention to regarding Nick Chubb and his upside. We spoke about on the Anti-Tinkercast, I believe his range with his role in this offense is somewhere between 9 and 25 fantasy points in a great matchup, in a good situation like he was in yesterday. He just doesn't have the 30-plus point days unless he scores multiple touchdowns and runs for like 160 yards. Those games are rare. So for a guy like Nick Chubb or Sony Michel or any of those not involved in the passing game running backs, much tougher for me to want to get involved at them at 7,300, and I probably should have had Alvin Kamara here. That was my mistake, that I probably should have had Kamara in this lineup in that game for 100 more on DraftKings. So that was the process mistake here, even though Chubb didn't kill you. Me looking back at my own article, I probably should have had Kamara here, and he was somebody that I wanted to try and get more of throughout the week. Kalen Ballage did not get the volume. I'll take the L here. Did not get the volume that I expected. I was expecting somewhere in the mid-teens in terms of touches, taking over that Frank Gore role, them trying to see what they had in the rookie with a couple of games left on the year. Frank Gore was averaging 14-plus touches. I expected somewhere between 12 and 16. He only got 6 touches on the day, 4 carries, 10 yards, 2 catches on 4 targets for 39 yards. It looked really good on the first drive of the game, and they just didn't really go back to him all that much. So my fault here, chasing the 3,700 salary and expecting him to fill a role that he obviously was not going to fill for that team. Michael Thomas was a hit, 30.9 DraftKings points, 13 targets, 11 of them were caught, 109 yards and a touchdown. Can't really ask for much more out of a wide receiver when you target them at 8K or above. Robert Woods, the clear value here, especially with Todd Gurley out, 6 catches, 7 targets, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those was rushing. 28.4 DraftKings points on the day. Dante Pettis got hurt. 3 catches on 5 targets, 21 yards. That probably killed your day if you had him in there at value. Robbie Anderson, 9 catches, 13 targets on the day, 140 yards and a touchdown. Absolute smash for 4,500. 32 DraftKings points. Vance McDonald didn't really get there. 5.9 DraftKings points. Only caught 1 ball, but it was a big one for 49 yards. Chris Herndon, 3.1K. How many Jets can you play in cash yesterday? Pretty much all of them against Green Bay. Had 20.2 DraftKings points for 3.1K, almost 7xing his salary there. Eric Ebron also got injured. Unfortunate there with Luck having such a big day for him to go out and be in the concussion protocol. 3 catches, 5 targets, 28 yards, 5.8 points. And the 3 defenses that I was focusing on this week, the Rams had 8 fantasy points, Cowboys 14, and the Patriots 10. So overall, I think Best Buys did real well. Here's the 4-man, and you can see that a couple of guys that were in this lineup, in my final lineup, weren't in that. Nick Foles, yes. Saquon Barkley, yes. Ezekiel Elliott, yes. Robbie Anderson. Isaiah McKenzie is in there because I needed to find a cheaper wide receiver to make things work, as I really wanted to get up to Michael Thomas. McKenzie gets carted off the field for the 2nd straight week, but comes back into the game with a head injury. Got a bunch of targets. 8 targets. Same as he had gotten the past 2 weeks, with 7 and 7 in both of those games, but just Josh Allen was poop couldn't really connect on anything, which is a risk you're going to take when you're playing somebody like Josh Allen at quarterback. He's a highly inaccurate quarterback and was very, very off target yesterday. He had one with Isaiah McKenzie wide open in the flat, and it was essentially just a dump off. And he threw it about 3 Isaiah McKenzies above him and out of bounds. Like, super easy completion, just Josh Allen is Josh Allen, guys. So that's a risk that I took there. Didn't pan out. If I go with Zay Jones at 3,700, it would have been like a 17 or an 18-point day, but like I was not going back to Zay Jones. That was never in play for me. Michael Thomas, as I said. Evan Ingram. I was on Vance McDonald here, but I had extra money after getting to this lineup and had 500 more and getting up to Ingram or down to Herndon. I tried coming down to Herndon, but that would have given me 4 Jets. As you see, I went with Elijah McGuire, and I wasn't keen on having 3 Jets position players. Just wasn't something that I really wanted to do. So Ingram and McGuire, 2 guys who were not in Best Buys, but set up for high volume roles, and that's always what I'm going to chase. And the Cowboys defense with 14 points. All in all, I played no cash this week, so I don't have a cash game number for you. From what I've understood, cash game line in the double ups and 50-50s was somewhere around 165 to 172, depending on the buy-in level that you went with. 190 was good enough to cash here 400th in this is the 1500, the main event. I had 5 entries in there. 3 of them cashed. As you can see, the cash line was 683, so I snuck this last one in there. Here was that lineup, the main lineup that I had, 190 fantasy points. 3 of these cash, so profitable on the day in GPP only for me. It is what it is. 190 would have been what, like an 80th or a 90th percentile score. I would have won about 80 or 90% of my head-to-head games. I played 150. I would have won about, what, 125, 130 of them. So it would have been a good day in cash. Turned out it was a very good day in tournaments for me. So a solid day overall. I hope that you guys had a winning day as well. I want to wish you one last time a very Merry Christmas Eve and a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully you have a great day or a great holiday with your family. If you don't celebrate Christmas, it is what it is. I still wish you all the best. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the support this year in NFL, for all the support on this channel throughout 2018. We're on to 2019. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. There's the button right there. Here's another video for you guys to check out, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.